while there is longing in the heart, and that longing is projected out toward people, conditions, circumstances, and things, the truth of the longing is the hunger to know thyself in fullness, to completely merge with the love that you are to a state of fullness. This state of fullness is something that people run to and run from. They hunger for it and long for it, and they run in the opposite direction from it. This fullness, this satiating love that abides within, is often sought outside of self. People look to others. They look to people, circumstances, and conditions to taste this love that is awake and alive within the self, just waiting for attention. It is the love that is like a bonfire. When you feed it fuel, it ignites and becomes bigger. When you place your attention on within, with the intention to feel the fullness of yourself as love, it grows. You know, wherever you place your attention, the energy flows. This is universal law. Most people, when they are going to step out in front of others or show up in an intimate relationship, encounter fear or anxiety about showing up. There is a fear about stepping out, being seen, being witnessed. What if people make fun of me? What if people judge me? What if I disappoint people? What if I'm not enough? All of these very ego-based insecurities have a very interesting twist to them. It is not ever actually about stepping out on that stage and exposing yourself to those in the audience. That is definitely the personality's position. That is definitely the personality's concern. It is afraid that it will not be enough. What is truly going on in the energy dynamic there is the personality is a construct that ultimately knows that it isn't real and therefore can be dismantled. And when the God self, the divine intelligence, the essence state is seeing and perceiving the personality, it is then that the personality is exposed. And since the personality is an ego construct, it doesn't like that, because ultimately it will melt away. So said differently, when one is witnessed by the God consciousness within oneself through the construct of the personality, when the personality becomes transparent and seen for what it is, which is an accumulation of history and an operating system, it becomes exposed. And as you know, when anything is exposed, it loses its power over. It loses the control position. So when the personality is exposed by being seen by the God consciousness within, it loses its momentum. It loses its belief in itself as the one driving the bus, as the real deal. So often, when people are about to be exposed in front of other people, that fear is projected outward. I hope I'm good enough when I step on stage because I don't want all those people to see me as a failure. It is a reverse projection where the personality is taking the fear of being exposed for what it is and projecting it out on the others in front of them. The truth, the core of that fear, is the personality being exposed for the construct that it is by the divine consciousness seeing through it. And so most people avoid that state of the deepest intimacy possible of seeing themselves for who they are, because the personality doesn't want that type of exposure, and because what happens after that is the meltdown. Does this make sense? Do you see how that works? Once the personality is seen through, it is like the wicked witch of the, I'm melting, I'm melting. Once the God consciousness or divine intelligence or essence state pierces the human reality and starts to be the perceiver, once that consciousness is activated, wakeful, and is the perceiving consciousness, everything else starts to melt away and lose its grip. And the ego is not bad or good. It is a functional construct. Doesn't like it because the ego believes it is a real deal unto itself and that there is no source power behind it. So, one of the key topics in people opening to their own intuition and their own sense of guidance is this confrontation. Because what happens on the personality level is something like this. Well, now, I've been struggling for a long time, and I really get into my struggle, and I really believe that I'm having a hard time, and I really feel lost and unguided. So if I can suddenly admit that I have guidance and I am guided and I'm taken care of, well, then I've wasted a lot of years investing in seeming separate and struggling. And then that makes me wrong. Once again, the personality at play trying to hold its position of power. If I keep the guidance away, then I can still drive the bus and stay in my story that I do not have intuition and I cannot sense my highest good and there is no wisdom operating. And much like a seltzer bottle, the personality will allow spurts of connection and spurts of intuition and spurts of guidance unless you are a soul that has done a lot of seeing prior to this lifetime and has already set up your construct to be able to be melted. Because there are souls that come in with the intention to be here fully awake. And in that case, your orientation toward your personality is already one of, that's my operating system. I get what that is. And it's very convincing. And it's very real while attached to the human body, and it is part of the play of being in form. However, not to mistake who you are for what that is. Who you are and what that is very different. You are the source consciousness behind the living energy that animates and creates the construct of the personality. There's nothing wrong with having an ego and a personality. It is part of the human incarnation. The inquiry is to get to know yourself well enough to understand that that is that and you are not that. You wear that. You have organized that. You don that. You've created that. The you that is the life force of all that is, everywhere present, simultaneous. The grand creation at play in form. So as you move along to the next section of this evening, be open to the inquiry of where you might not want to have faith in your knowingness, where you might have the habit of second guessing your intuition or your capacity to have access to levels of guidance that you perceive. Notice where you say, that's just my imagination. And consider the possibility that in the human body construct, the imagination is a very vivid and purposeful tool meant for accessing guidance. So when you think you're imagining it, you are. And that is perfect. And that is exactly how it works. So not to chalk off the imagination as something that isn't useful. So as you move into practicing with your partners, your guidance this evening, be open to all of the sensations that happen. A sensation of warmth or coolness, a sensation of connection somewhere in your body or tingling, a sense of knowingness that simply comes. Perhaps you are more clairvoyant. Perhaps you are more clairaudient. You are more seeing ideas or hearing a sense of guidance or sensing with your body what feels like a guided notion. Be curious. Curiosity is a strong tool that allows the mind to sit on the side and have space to witness and perceive and learn. It is glorious to have your heart teach your mind how to perceive. It is one of the best exercises you can invest in, is listening into your heart and having your heart teach your mind how to perceive. In closing, please know that you are never alone. It is impossible to be alone, and that you are always guided all the time, all the time. Your perception of that guidance is your choice.